All right, now we're going to get into the next little chapter here and continue forward. Okay, so for nearly 200 years, scientific debates had been underway regarding the birthplace of Zoroaster, or Zarathustra, who was the founder of the religion named in his honor as Zoroastrianism. The birthplace of the prophet has not yet fully been confirmed. However, most medieval Muslim historians had been quoting that later Zoroastrian sources believed that Zoroaster was born in the region of Manna, in around modern-day Azerbaijan. Some say that the prophet Zarathustra was born near modern Russia, on the bank of the river Kama, which is the greatest tributary of the Volga, the longest river in Europe, the Volga River. This river flows through central Russia and into the Caspian Sea, bounded by Iran to the south. With its numerous fire temples, the Kingdom of Manna played an essential role in the creation and the dissemination of the canonized text of the Zend Avesta, which was the sacred writing of Zoroastrianism. Now, Zoroastrianism came about 4,000 years ago, so I understand that it's about 1000 BC or more. I'd have to go and check that out exactly. But this new religion, which was the first monotheistic religion of its time, penetrated not only the east but also the west, which influenced other regions such as Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism faiths. Zoroaster's doctrine proclaimed monotheism and the existence of a permanent struggle between two principles, good and evil. See anything similar there to what's going on today? Ahura Mazda was in charge of the good, while Ahriman led the evil. Zoroaster taught that men should assist Ahura Mazda in combating Ahriman. After all, according to Zoroaster, Ahura Mazda should win this battle and exterminate evil in the world forever. I don't know that we'll ever exterminate evil in the world forever, but it's a lovely thought. What would be nice is if we had a bit of balance in the world. Once, when he passed a sacramental river, the heavenly spirit Bahman appeared before Zoroaster and took him to the throne of God, Ahura Mazda. And there Zoroaster received a heavenly revelation. Essentially, Zoroaster preached morals such as, very simple morals, good ideas, good words, good deeds, and intentions. How simple is that? He also guided his followers to be generous, honest, and restrained in one's desires. And he recommended avoiding cruelty and lawlessness. Each person, according to the doctrine, should protect the cleanliness of fire, water, and earth. You can see how a lot of other spiritual movements and religions have been affected by Zoroastrianism and have had major effects. The trouble is, most of these wonderful teachings, including that of what had eventually become Christianity, have been very much watered down, and some of the greatest teachings of the Christ, such as reincarnation and the fact that we exist in a male and female realm. It's part of physics, and the electromagnetic substance of our existence is that we are male and female in essence. It's just that we appear as one or the other for the sake of easy identifiability. Anyway, but imagine how different Christianity would be if simply Christianity really taught the Christ teachings. Well, there's a huge Christ deception that we know that we'll get into at another time and place. But if truly taught the Christ teachings, which, something as simple as reincarnation and the aspect of the male-female essence of everybody and everything, how different would Christianity be today? A very, very different religion. Anyway, as has been noted above, Contemporary Zoroastrians and early Muslims regarded Azerbaijan as the birthplace of Zoroaster and Zoroastrianism. The modern day kingdom of Manna holds sovereign status with several sovereign territories and districts worldwide that no current claims or affiliations with the old Near East territories of Manna exist. Officially, the Kingdom of Manna these days is a small sovereign nation with an area of about 2,500 square kilometres, and that exists in Papua New Guinea. There's also other sovereign territories globally, but Los Negros Island is where Manaran, the official capital of the Kingdom of Manna, will be built as one of the most modern, beautiful cities, completely beautifully in alignment with the local nature, flora and fauna of the territory. The government is an absolute monarchy with elective monarchy. The state bank of Kingdom of Manna is named the Spectral Continuum Bank of the Sovereign Kingdom of Manna. And the Kingdom of Manna's central bank is named the Central Bank of the Sovereign Kingdom of Manna. Pretty simple. The official currency of the Kingdom of Manna is, you pronounce Auris or Aureus, AU. Funny that, huh? The Kingdom of Manna has no geopolitical agenda, nor officiates neither treaties nor trade agreements, except with Manna World Holding Trust. The Kingdom of Manna is distinct from Manna World Holding Trust, which itself dates back to about 360 AD, and the time of Constantine and the Nicaea Council, and you name it. It's amazing the threads and ties that have been kept out of modern day history and are so profoundly important to where we currently sit and where we will be going to in the near future, due to the good work of some amazing people. Today, the Kingdom of Manna is officially a sovereign kingdom with sovereignty in this incarnation of itself, being granted by the Manna World Holding Trust in October 2016. Although they both work very closely for the fulfillment of the objectives of the Trust and the ancient treaties made, the Kingdom of Manna is a completely independent, sovereign kingdom, distinct and completely separate, as I stated, from the Manna World Holding Trust. Its role being the protectorate of the Trust and its international responsibilities to the original treaties and the original stakeholders. The Manna World Holding Trust obtained its sovereign status much earlier with official registration in 1946. The Manna World Holding Trust holds founding member status with the United Nations and the Bank for International Settlements, which we know have gone a little rogue, and those things are being worked on and have been for some time now. The Kingdom of Manna is responsible for diplomatic relations with other nations and the launching of Manna World Holding Trust's non-political humanitarian programs, including the Redistribution of Wealth and Global Economic Recovery Program, the Debt Forgiveness Program, and the Plan of Experts on behalf of Manna World Holding Trust. Additionally, the Kingdom of Manna runs the Global Disaster Relief Program, the Global High-Speed Rail System, and the Global Security System. These are very important pieces. On the 24th of October 2016, His Majesty Jesper Elleman at that time accepted his appointment as the King Supreme Commander and Grand Master Knight of the Kingdom of Manna, swearing an oath of allegiance to the Kingdom of Manna to uphold its laws and constitutions. On the 12th day of February 2018, it was acknowledged and recorded at that time within the royal records of names and titles of the Kingdom of Manna that His Majesty Jesper Elleman accepted his royal name as instated by the Universal Council to be His Majesty Michael Uriel Gabriel Raphael Zavikiel of All Saints, or simply abbreviated to His Majesty Michael Uriel I. When we go back and think about the names of kings and everything else, they're still existing on the planet today. Some of the nature of where we're moving through and the systems that we are working to bring together as the remedy and administrate those it's not about completely disassembling those structures, it's essentially being the right people in the right place to administer the remedy in the right manner. Oh, there we go, manner. When you look back, Emperor Constantine initiated the First Council of Nicaea, and in 325 AD, the Nicene Creed was structured. From this point forward, due to the structure of the Nicene Creed, everything in the known world was registered under what is currently known as the Manna World Holding Trust. As stated previously, in current times, as of late 2016, the official currency of the Kingdom of Manna is aureus, backed by gold, or aureus. And this was the currency used back by Constantine in those days. Essentially, what you have with what they were holding at that time and the abuse that was instigated and propagated with that authority, with those resources, is insidious beyond consideration. When you look 1,600 years later, 1,700 years later, where we are today, where does the Catholic Church reside on the planet? What did they do with the nature of the resources that were placed in their guardianship? I use that word loosely, based upon what we see. So, in the world at the moment. But read between the lines of what the old management, through Emperor Constantine, the Nicene Council, the Vatican, Marcos in the Philippines, and the recent 500-year-old edition in the Rothschilds, has brought about in this world, and those subordinate family groups such as the Dragon families, Alpha Omega, Swiss Indo, OITC, etc. And their bank dynasties, they simply drained the Manna Trust accounts at the drop of a hat, because they essentially couldn't manage the nature of proper administration of the system. The system was turned into a Luciferian-based one, and that's where everything was given a value and a worth and taken out of its natural state and artificially manipulated into what we see today as a weaponized financial system. But that is rapidly changing. Most fortunate for everybody. Essentially, some of the things that they used, perpetrated this through, was the Series-3 Trust and the dog Latin and bond slavery, the Admiralty and Maritime Law, etc., that's been used to bind everybody up into a complete state of confusion as to how do we undo this? How do we set ourselves back on a path that is in alignment with natural law, and use the assets and resources that have always been there, have been there for a good period of time, a long time, and put them to good use. Imagine a system that was predicated on good intentions, kindness, and the, responsibility for the well-being of everybody, and making sure that nobody, as our previous US president, no child left behind. Yeah, that's a lovely statement, but the nature of that is far greater, and with it holds far greater responsibility in which to fulfill and enact. Which, again, lots of rhetoric, little action over the previous past, other than for a very small select few. And anyway, just stop and think for a moment. Find a part of the modern systems of the world we live in, right? Where other systems are put in place that are in alignment and congruent with natural law, universal law, personal, national, and global sovereignty. Are there any? Maybe the animal kingdom are a better representative of this, but that being said, that's what these systems, that's what these funds, that's what these resources were always to be about. Imagine banks that actually were representative of the communities and the people that lived in them, that actually, without any, of the crazy control and interest-based, mechanisms all in place that are there at the moment, that are throwing people out of their homes, doing some of the most and performing some of the greatest and heinous crimes against everybody. There's no kindness there. There's no consideration. There certainly isn't any good intention. banks acting unlawfully and illegally. Imagine, for starters, just in that instance there, if banks were brought back into alignment to act in the greatest good for everybody. It didn't mean, you bring the greatest project that you can for humanity and for your community, and the banks should fund it. The banks should assure that it gets done. You bring the greatest intentions and ideas of creation of technologies, and they should be done and should be fulfilled. But we know there's a very complex web of T's to be crossed and I's to be dotted out there in the world when you want to bring anything through that messes with the current status quo. But beautifully enough, the Kingdom of Manna, those that are part of the Kingdom of Manna, including His Majesty Michael Uriel I, who, by the way, is a phenomenal gentleman, and unlike anything that anybody has met in the modern era when it comes to royal monarchs. He certainly is the epitome of what a royal monarch should be. And he's here for everybody to make sure that this is fulfilled for the best of everyone, not for any one person or group. And when you look at the nature of what we've been dealing with historic elitist groups that have these entitlement issues, that spend and do whatever they want with the trust money, and you compare that to the nature of somebody like His Majesty Michael Uriel I, and you'll see a vast, vast difference in the nature of what is being offered. Sadly, there's a lot of the old guard and the old mentality that's still having its issues getting past their old programming, and but we will get there, because the nature of what this is something that is absolutely required at this time in history. And when you actually look at the beautiful pieces that it represents and how it can actually transform, transmute, alchemize the nature of our existence here through good intent, technology, the support of each other, banks operating appropriately, sovereign nations operating as they're meant to, not attacking other countries. Defend yourself if somebody comes through, but the nature of great collaborations for the future sitting at our fingertips. Mostly what we got to do at the moment, though, too, is stop pointing fingers. Stop accusing people of doing this and doing that. We're simply not going to engage in that kind of petty schoolyard behaviour. The proof is, and will be, as it always has been, in the pudding. It'll be in the actions. And sadly, there are many of those at the moment whose actions and words, that they should basically sit back and maybe have a greater account of themselves and what it is they started out on this journey representative of. The power of the word is very, very powerful. So be careful how you use it. Anyway, thank you, my friends, for listening. And I hope I didn't bore you all to tears. We'll talk with you soon. And take care. Oh, and by the way, for our brother out there, narco